Hi guys, this is Paul from emodels.co.uk. Welcome back to part 4 of our Airfix 148 Messerschmitt BF109 build. Today we're going to be covering the masking of the canopy, attaching the canopy to the fuselage, installation of the pilot. We'll then move on to priming the model, pre-shading panel lines, and laying down our base coat of RLM65. This is in preparation for part 5, which will be masking off the splinter camo pattern, spraying the two different shades for the camo pattern, moving on to a gloss coat in preparation for decaling and what have you. So we'll carry on. I hope you like what you see. Welcome to part 4. Right guys, made a little bit of progress off camera since our last visit of part 3. At the end of the last video you see me basically attach the wings, the cowling. In the meantime I've glued those on now. No gaps at all in the wing roots, just filled with Tamiya extra thin, so absolutely spot on there. The under cowling's on. I put a little bit of fill in places I felt like it was needed, just mainly on the larger sections where they fit, the wing slats, etc. Nothing major at all though. All fits together very nice, as I've said before. Our pilot's hand is now inside the cockpit. If I zoom us in a little bit, he's all painted up. I do have another video covering the painting of him and what have you, so I'll pop that up when this is built. The gun sight's now in and painted up. You should just be able to see it there in the cockpit. Front canopy's masked up and glued in position. Got the very rear part of the canopy masked up, ready to be glued in once this centre section's been masked, which I've done 2/3 of it. I'll just let this one bit to show you quickly how I mask the canopies up. Quick couple of other things as well. Engine exhausts are on, intakes are on, and this is really, once the canopy's on, it's ready for priming. So once we've got the canopy on, glued in position, left to dry for a bit, we'll go to the spray booth and give it a coat of primer. So I'll just zoom us back out a little bit. We'll put this to one side for now. So masking, I use Tamiya tape. I've got several manufacturers' tape, all different thicknesses, what have you. You'll need a sharp knife. Again, I've got Tamiya's craft knife, a brand new blade, some scissors, and obviously the appropriate glue for gluing the canopy onto the plane. I like Gator glue, find it very useful, very good, and some cotton buds for removing excess glue. So the way I do it, and most people, is rip off a little bit of Tamiya tape. I'll look for the edge of the canopy. If I zoom in a little bit more, there's normally one that isn't very well defined, and for this one it's that very top one along there. So I'll use the edge of Tamiya tape that we've already got to place that on there. So rather than trying to cut a neat edge where there isn't any real guide, we've already got it because we put the edge of the Tamiya tape. One other thing you'll need as well, which I didn't show, is a cocktail stick. A lot of people use the back of the knife. I prefer to use a cocktail stick. I don't like very sharp. A couple of taps on the bench normally blunts it a little bit. If I can do this so you can see where the edge of the tape's on the edge of the canopy. It's just a case of using the edge of the cocktail stick to give yourself a nice hard edge, which you can then follow with your knife, cut it, and that'll give you a nice clean edge then. And again, along the bottom section, find the edge of the canopy under the masking tape and just allow the cocktail stick to follow it. And as you can see, that's nice and clear defined now where that is. Get your knife. The reason you need a sharp blade, a new blade, is because now you're going to cut the tape and you want a nice sharp crisp edge to it. So you keep yourself a nice new blade. I've got two of these. I've got a slightly bigger one and the smaller one. So the smaller one I tend to just use for canopies, so it saves you having to put a brand new blade in every time, which I know some people do. So find your edge, it would be quite hard for me to do, and make sure you can see this as well. And just lightly follow the edge of the canopy. We've already marked it out with the cocktail stick. Not pressing hard. Let the knife do all the work. I normally just go over twice, and then the last part, make sure you can get the angle so you can see it in the light. And again, you're not pressing hard. Let the knife do all the work. Follow it down and you should be able to rip off the tape. Get rid of the excess. Make sure you're all smoothed down. A little bit at the back there just to get rid of. It's already been cut. Just remove the excess like so. Get your nail in there. And there we go. So we just turn it around. There's all three sides now done. That's ready to now be glued into place on the canopy. Right, so there we go, there's the canopy masked up with the other section to go on as well. So basically grab our glue, which for me, I like gator glue, cocktail stick, and obviously the plane itself. So make sure you get it the correct way you need it, which is that way. Make sure it's orientated correctly by your instructions. Just dip your cocktail stick in and just lightly run it across. You don't want a load of it, you just want a bit. Pop it back on, make sure again it's orientated in the right direction. And just place it on. Get in the position that you're happy. Push it down. Cotton bud. Quick click in the mouth. Just run it along the edges. Make sure you still got in the position you want to do. Out of habit of moving until the glue dries. There we go, so there's that one. And then the rear section. Again, not a massive amount of glue. Just dry nice and clear this, luckily. Any PVA will do it. I just prefer this brand. Again, always refer to your instructions. The other part is going to move about still. Get it in, make sure your glue's got some purchase on it where you want it. Check that you're all lined up, you're happy where it is. Again, your cotton bud, just run it over the edge, any excess glue, get it off, you don't want it to dry on there. And there we go. Need to put this to one side for a little bit, let it all dry. And once it's dried, you can then prime it, paint it, whatever you wish. Obviously on this one we're going for a closed canopy, but you can leave it open as well. You get the option in the pack to leave it open. So I'm going to put this to one side to dry, and when we come back we'll be in the spray booth and we'll get a coat of primer on it. Right, so we're now in the spray booth. We're going to do this coat of Alclad grey primer. I've given this about 20-30 minutes for the canopy glue to dry. So we're all fine there now. So we're going to give this an all over coat of grey primer. Like I say, it's Alclad. It's cellulose based, so make sure you've got good ventilation, preferably an extractor unit like this one, and a face mask as well. I'll show you the start of the priming and then we'll come back once it's all been done. So on with the spray booth. I've got my Harder Steam Back Evolution. It's an 0.2 needle. Colour cups loaded with grey primer. Our pressure set at approximately 15 psi. So we'll crack on. It's a grey primer. Covers very well, very hard wearing. But like I say, it is cellulose based, so it's quite nasty stuff. So you really do need to make sure you've got good ventilation. A face mask, preferably an extractor as well. I do use these quite a lot, and for that reason I've actually bought a better extractor, which I'm expecting to be delivered sometime this week. It's a much better unit. Costs a lot of money, but I don't think there's any price to pay where your health's involved. So, like I say, it's great stuff. This dries very, very fast. Goes on very well. It's very, very thin. So that's why you need a lower air pressure. But it's a really good hard wearing base, and for this it's going to have a lot of masking on it, so it'll ensure that none of our paint gets pulled off. So it's just a case of methodically going around the model until there's a nice primer coat all around. Obviously keep the airbrush moving. Don't let it stand still for too long, or you will get runs. Just give my needle a quick wipe. Starting to spit a little bit then, so collecting on the needle tip. There's one colour cup empty. Doesn't go very far. It wasn't really a colour cup, it was probably 2mm worth of that. So I'll reload the colour cup, and then we'll come back in a minute once she's fully primed. Okay, the model's now primed. A little bit of a disaster with the primer. I managed to spill some of my colour cup onto more of the wing tips. I let it dry, sanded it off, re-primed it, so I think I've saved it there. I've probably 90% done now with the pre-shading, which I'm using a very thin, well not very thin, probably 50-50 mix of Tamiya XF1 and X28 thinner. Pressure's still down at about 15 psi. And we're literally just following around all the panel lines, any detail at all we want to be trying to show through the paintwork. Again, not the easiest thing in the world to do, and again, stuff you don't want it to look perfect either. You don't want to every line to be perfectly straight or 100% correct angle, etc., because it is just a random pattern that will show through the paintwork once all the camo pattern's been done, and we'll basically show all the panel lines through the actual paintwork. So just a few more little bits to do. You can see me on camera there. Like I say, it's not the easiest thing in the world to do. And again, I'm not a master modeler, I've never pretended to be. I'm just an average modeler who enjoys what he does. So, as I say, you're just following all the panel lines around the model. Two-handed's best for this, so try and rest your elbow like I've got. Check the flow, make sure you get nice thin lines, that's hence why you need the thin paint. slowly build up the paint. Don't stay on one area too long, come back to it, let it dry. Like I say, you're not trying to get that 100% perfect look. To be honest, that's quite hard to do anyway unless you're going to stencil it. So the idea of doing this is, when you're applying your top layers of paint, is you apply them just thick enough so that they show through the black panel lines very, very faintly. Just gives a nice effect. Which you can see, if I pop a pick up, on my 132-109 I did a while ago. Nice effect. As I say, quite tricky to master. But the beauty of it is, if you mess it up, you just reprimer the model, start again. But as long as you roughly along the panel lines, you're doing it correctly anyway. And again, you don't want it to be pitch black dark. It does look quite dark on camera when I look at the monitor, but under my light here it's more of a grey black than a dark black. So just make sure you're happy it's dark enough where you've got. So I'm just going to put a little bit more over this side. You do need to get the airbrushing quite close to this, and then you need to pick out all the little panels that you want to show through the paintwork. Can be quite time consuming, so it's worth practicing on. If you've got a spare piece of paper, plastic card, anything, you can just practice doing your straight lines as such until you start getting happy with what you're doing. So just a few more at the front to do, and we're just about done now. All the details we've picked out. Again, it does look really dark on camera, but it's not that dark in real life. So it must be the lighting that's making it look very, very black. So I'm going to let this dry, and then we can start applying the underside camo colour, which is RLM 65. This needs to be applied to all the underside and part way up the side of the fuselage as well, and then we can get on with some masking and applying the splinter camo pattern. Okay, so we'll let the pre-shading now dry for a bit, and we're going to just start applying the Vallejo Model Air, which should be RLM 65, which is 71008 pale blue. So I've loaded the colour cup up in the Evolution, and we'll just very lightly start to go over the model. So we don't want to be applying it too thick. We want to try our best not to lose that pre-shading we've just done. It's a case of just methodically covering the model until we get just the right amount of coverage. So just do one section, then move on to the next. And then come back and fill it all in properly. So again, the same as in airbrush, you're not trying to cover it all in one go. Obviously the primer helps massively with this as it gives the paint a good base to adhere to. Most importantly, try not to lose that pre-shading. Quite easy to do. You just literally want to spray it until you can just about see it, and then that's perfect. We're starting to get there now with our LM65. So let's have a quick look around the model, see if there's any areas, especially where the pre-shading is any that are too prominent. You can always fill in the centre of the panel line rather than going over the shading. Once it's all been done, I'll be giving this a wash anyway, so all the panel lines will be cleared if I'm under the wash. The most important thing I think at this stage is to make sure that you're looking at that colour call out and making sure you're getting paint exactly where it's needed. Because once you pass this part, you're onto a different colour. So then ideally you don't want to be coming back and having to put this colour back on because you missed a part. Get the rear sections of the wing as well. Easy to miss, and the sides. Just get your leading edges again. Right then, so that's the end of part 4. This is ME109 as it stands now. The RLM65 has dried nicely. The pre-shading showing through just about right on both sides, so you can just about see the darker panel lines, which obviously will accentuate later with a wash. Underneath, again, just showing through nice with the RLM65. So that's part 4 done with. Part 5 we're going to cover the masking for our splinter camo pattern, which involves RLM 1771. So we'll start off next time showing the starting of the masking, and then we'll move on to spraying of the camo pattern and what have you there. So it's Paul from emodels.co.uk. Check out eModels website. As I always say, plenty of new products being added daily. Check out our videos on YouTube. There's more videos than this one. Subscribe and follow us. Like us on Facebook. And I'll see you in part 5. So take care. Thanks for watching.